Hey guys, King of Charmanders here. Alright, so we have Umbreon. Now, Umbreon can actually reach level 50 now and it's really, really good in Ultra League. One of my friends was like, and one of my viewers was like, hey, can you do one on Umbreon? And I was like, you know what? I'm actually building one right now, and if you actually go out and grind, there's a lot of EV spawning, so you can actually get a lot of XL candy right now. As you see, level 50 EV actually maxes out at near 2,500. Now, as you know in Great League, Umbreon is an insanely good tank. It's very powerful, very bulky, and because of its moveset, it charges very fast. As you see here, it sports Snarl, Foul Play, Snarl Dark Pulse, and it also sports Last Resort, of course. Now, you don't want to use Feint Attack. There's not really any reason for you to use Feint Attack. Snarl is what makes it so good because it generates energy quickly and it fires off a lot of charge moves. Puts a lot of charge move pressure. Combine that with its bulky stats, and Umbreon is actually really good for Ultra League. Now, it does have a few weaknesses. Of course, Fairy and Fighting types. Dark is weak to Fairy and Fighting, so you just have to be careful of those counters and Charm users. Also, X-Scissor and Megatorn hurt a lot, so try to avoid it if you can, or shield it. Now, you do have a lot of benefits because you do resist Psychic. You also resist Dark and Ghost. So, Dark Pulses from Alola Muck won't do much against you. Cresselia's Confusion Psycho Cuts won't do much against you at all either. And those Ghost types like those Drift Blims or those Giratina Alters or Origins, they're not going to do much damage against you because Umbreon actually resists all those moves except for Dragon Pulse. But it's extremely powerful, a great tank. And it's actually one of the more available level 50 Pokemon. So if you want a level 50 Umbreon and you want to use it in Go Battle League, you could even use it at level 51. At Best Buddy, it actually maxes out at 2445, I believe. So you can even have a Best Buddy one. And we're going to analyze how Best Buddy Umbreon and a level 50 Umbreon will do and perform in Ultra League now that's released and now that it has level 50. Alright, so here's the PvPcom Rankings. And as you see here, we have the Ultra League. Now, Umbreon XL maxes out at around, or not maxed out, it's ranked at rank 11. As you see here, Umbreon is incredibly powerful in Ultra League. The only reason everything else above takes it is just either like pressure or just it has a move that actually covers Umbreon. For example, Togekiss, Obstagoon, just because Obstagoon does have cross chop. Togekiss does have Charm, of course. And there are some things that actually, because they outpace Umbreon Snarls, like Lapras's Surfs, they actually win against Umbreon. However, if you see here, Umbreon actually beats BBML. Yep. So, Umbreon beats Gear A, Cresselia, and Swampert. This is essentially the BBML core of pretty much season like 3 and season 4, I believe. Giratina, Altered, Cresselia, and Swampert. So being able to break this core along with Swampert is extremely good. Along with that, you beat Alolan Muck, you also beat Charizard and other things. Now, like I said, you do have to avoid counter users and Charmers, but if you're able to do that, Umbreon is extremely powerful. As you see, best used as a lead, it's also good as a closer and switch. It's pretty strong in all positions. In the lead, Umbreon XL at level 50 ranks at number 16. So in the lead, it's able to beat a lot of things. As you see here, it beats Giratina, Cresselia, Swampert, Alolan Muck, Charizard, which is a pretty diverse pick. Now, its key losses are pretty popular as well. For example, Melmetal, Obstagoon, Lapras, and Togekiss. However, you do have answers against them, and we're going to analyze them in the Matrix. Again, you can power up Umbreon to level 51 and it maxes out, so it'll be like right down maxed out. As you see in the closer, it's ranked number 20, being able to beat out Venusaur. It actually beats Melmetal at one point. Remember I told you that there's answers? It actually beats Melmetal in the closer. Now, you lose against Cresselia just because of Moonblast. However, if you do have energy advantage, you can flip the Cresselia matchup. As you see, you lose against a few other things as well. So, depending on which shield scenarios you're at, Umbreon does flip some matchups. As a switch, Umbreon is also very good as well. And the switch, Umbreon is actually the number 11 best safe switch. Being able to take out, like I said, the BBML Charizard, and Alolan Muck. Though it beats... The thing that's interesting about Umbreon is that it beats a lot... It beats, of course, the BBML. It beats a lot of the meta. However, it loses against a lot of meta depending on, like, certain scenarios. However, we're going to take a look at the Matrix because we're going to see just how powerful Umbreon at level 50 XL does in Ultra League. I'm really excited because I think it could be really good in certain like, a lot of scenarios. Alright, my favorite part of the video is the Matrix. If you guys would like to donate to PvPcom, please consider doing so. Me and a lot of other battlers wouldn't be able to do what we do if it wasn't for this website. Now, as you see here in the Matrix, we have Umbreon at level 50, Lumbreon at level 51. As you see here, level 51 does max out at 2445. So we have 50, level 51 if you had a best buddy, and we also have at level 40. Just for like science. Obviously the level 50 is what we're looking at, but level 40 just to make some comparisons. So you see I already have the 2 shield. We run the simulator, and as you see here, you beat both versions of Abomasnow. You do lose against Articuno in the 2 shield just because Articuno is also bulky, and Icy Wind does lower your attack, so it's able to chunk you down. As you see, you're able to beat Fire Spin Charizard, but you lose against the Dragon Breath version. You also hard lose against Charmers, while most Dark types actually do, so don't be surprised that Clefable does really good. You beat Cresselia in the 2 shield as well as Dragonite. Cresselia is the big one. Cresselia is one of the most powerful mons in Ultra League, even still now, and being able to target Cresselia or beat it very convincingly in a 600, about a 600, very, very good. You're also able to beat Drifblim. Level 51 does matter. Level 50 and 51, as you see here, level 51 is actually able to beat Empoleon in the 2 shield. Empoleon's a pretty popular, I wouldn't say like super popular, but as you see, with that extra bulk you get from level 51, you're actually able to win the 2 shield. Level 50 does not. So there is differences between a level 50 and 51 Umbreon. As you see here, it's a simultaneous knockout. Unless you're able to grab a Snarl, unless you're able to get a Snarl through, then you can probably win it convincingly. Of course, you lose against the Scavaliers because counter users suck, so anything that's fighting, try to avoid as much as possible, and because it also has Mega Horn, so it's going to hurt a lot. You do beat Ferrothorn, you beat Gallade, you beat Gengar, Giratina Altered, and Giratina Origins. So being able to take out both Cresselia and Giratina Origins is a huge plus, and just the whole Giratina family. Now, you do have to be careful against Lapras. 471 isn't a horrible rating. However, Lapras is pretty thick. And like I said, because of Ice Shard and Surf, it's able to do a lot of damage and put a lot of pressure on you. As you see, it's able to just simply Surf you down. Just because Surf takes less energy than Foul Play. That's basically the mechanic. So just be careful of the Lapras matchup. Also, Gramble's a Charmer as well. Charm, Gramble, and counter users, please avoid as much as possible. Melmetal wins just because of the Superpower. Superpower does suck. However, if you're able to call the Superpower, you might be able to flip this matchup. As you see here, it's straight Rock Slides, and then it has to Superpower you. So if you're able to actually shield... If you actually shield the Superpowers right here, you actually are able to... You might be able to flip this matchup. So let's see. Don't shield these... So we're going to make it so you don't shield the Rock Slides. And you shield Superpower. So shield 1. Shield 2. As you see, Umbreon's able to win as long as you're able to shield 2. Umbreon has to Superpower you. So one Superpower has to hit, otherwise you win. So this is technically a bait-dependent matchup for Melmetal, but it's really close regardless of how you put it, so it's not even a convincing win. Of course, you beat Armor Mewtwo because it's a Psychic type. Again, you double resist Psychic, so that's really, really good. Even with Dynamic Punch, Umbreon is able to beat Mewtwo Armored. You beat Alolan Muck just because Last Resort is able to pierce through that Dark typing, and as you see, you're able to tank those Dark Pulses. You lose against Obstagoon, Poliwrath, and Registeel just because Registeel's Focus Blast is so oppressive, especially the level 51, so try to avoid it at all costs. You do beat Scizor and Snorlax because Snorlax, you do resist those licks because Umbreon's a Dark type. Now, you'll lose against Swampert in the 2 shield. However, this is also a very interesting matchup. As you see, Swampert must land an Earthquake in order to win. If you're able to call the Earthquake, you might be able to flip this matchup. So Swampert in the 2s. That's what makes it really interesting to run Umbreon. Umbreon puts a lot of pressure on your opponent because it's super thick. Look at how many Hydro Cannons it lives. If you're able to shield... No, it's actually able to squeeze out. It barely wins. So Swampert does win even if they shield it, but look how much damage it's able to take. Brown's able to tank 1, 2, 3, 4, literally 4 Hydro Cannons. So it's nuts just how powerful it is. So be careful at Swampert. Also be careful at Venusaur as well as Toxicroak. Again, fighters and Charmers, you want to avoid them as much as possible. Alright, so we got the 2 shield. Here's the 1 shield. As you see, it's generally, I would say, the same. Avoid fighters and avoid charmers. As you see, you beat Bama, both versions of Bama, Charizard as well. You beat both versions of Charizard this time in the 1 shield versus the 2 shield. I think Umbreon operates better at the 1s than the 2s, as you see here. Unfortunately, Empoleon does beat you convincingly in the 1 shield, so just be careful of that. You're able to, it literally just squeaks out enough damage to take you out. Scavalier, again, counter users, charmers, avoid them at all costs, just like in Great League though. You're able to beat Ferrothorn, Gallade, Gengar, you destroy Gengar, you beat all versions of Gear Altered even more. I mean, all versions of Gear Altered and Gear Origins even more convincingly. And like I said, avoid Charmers, Fighters, and Lapras. That's basically it. You beat Alolan, you still beat Mewtwo. You also lose against Registeel just because Focus Blast hurts. So they're going to go straight Focus Blast because the difference between Flash Cannon and Focus Blast, energy-wise, isn't much of a difference anymore because Flash Cannon did get nerfed. So just keep that in mind. You basically beat everything. You beat everything you did from last time, except now you're able to actually flip the Venusaur matchup, and you convincingly beat Swampert this time around. So you're actually able to beat Swampert in the 1 shield, not the 2 shield. And it's a convincing win, along with Venusaur in the 1 shield. So, not too much of a diss here. Like I said, a few matchups you do flip that you lose in the 2 shield. Now in the zeros, I would say it's Umbreon's worst position. If you're in the 0 shield. Oh wait, no, that's not the worst one. Okay, there you go, perfect. So 0, zeros, okay, perfect. As you see, you're able to beat Articuno in the zeros because you're able to squeak out enough damage just to take it out compared to the 2 shield. Now at this point, you do lose against Charizard, you also lose against Dragonite, and you lose against a few picks. Like Gramble, Shadow Champ does take you down. Poliwrath, Registeel. Basically, you basically lose the same matchups in the zeros, except this time you lose against Cresselia. So in the zeros, in the 1s and the 2s, you beat Cresselia. In the zeros, Moonblast does enough damage to KO you. So just be careful of that. But as you see, there are there's a few. Umbreon's a little difficult to play because you kind of need to know what you're doing. As you see here, 5 HP left. If you're able to get a Snarl in between, I believe you can flip this matchup. So just be careful. Just keep that in mind. That sneaking and fast moves might be able to actually let you flip matchups. As you see, it's very interesting because in all scenarios, Umbreon has a very dominant matchup against a lot of what it beats. For example, let's take Gallade. So Umbreon very convincingly beats Gallade. As you see here, it beats Gallade in all scenarios unless they have shield advantage. They literally have shield advantage. And they're able to, like, literally close combat you. So just keep that in mind. It has very strong matchups against its positive matchups. Again, generally just avoid Charmers, Fighters, and Lapras. No, literally just did. But in the zeros, you actually beat Lapras, as you see here. Lapras and Poliwrath. Anything that has a fighting move, try to avoid it. Anything that's a counter user, avoid it. And you actually beat Lapras in the zeros. So there's actually something you flip here. In the 1 shield, Umbreon 1 to zeros with shield advantage. Umbreon's a beast. Now, you still lose against, like I said, what you generally lose against, but you are able to pick up some matchups. So, in the 1 to zeros, you actually beat Articuno convincingly. Now, what's a solid matchup you used to lose now that you win? You beat Dragonite convincingly now. You also beat Cresselia, of course. You beat Lapras. You're able to beat Shadow Champ with shield advantage, as you see in the 1 to zeros. You'll still lose against Obstagoon, Poliwrath, and Registeel. Also, Togekiss and Toxric, but you beat everything else. The 2 shield, 2 to zeros, Umbreon also loses. It's still, the reason why Umbreon still loses because Snarl generates energy slowly. As you see, you beat a slew of matchups. However, you still lose against Clefable because it's a Charmer, Togekiss, and I think you can flip. Okay, you still lose against Gramble. And you still lose against Gramble, as well as Machamp, Poliwrath, and Obstagoon. So anything that has fast pace, charm, or fighting, just avoid them. That's general synopsis. And like I keep saying. But however, in the 2 to 1s, with shield advantage, also pretty much the same thing. As you see, Umbreon is very interesting because it's able to dominantly beat a lot of matchups. And you generally just have to make it avoid its other matchups. But unfortunately, against like things like Charmers and Fighters, it's going to be hard pressed for you to beat, especially Charmers, just because they actually wall you. As you see, you don't beat Clefable, you also don't beat Togekiss as well. Charmers do wall you, and fighting users suck, or anything that has a fighting type move, because you have to be very careful about Umbreon getting hit. Other than that, the plus about Umbreon is, do you see all of its positive matchups? It's pretty much convincingly beats them. So if you put Umbreon against a matchup where it does win, it's going to win pretty convincingly, so your opponent can try to do something fancy, but 9 times 10 it's probably not going to work. Also, it's able to beat Swampert. It's also able to flip a lot of other meta picks, depending on which scenario it's in. So, Umbreon at level 50 is looking really, really good for Ultra League. A little difficult to play as far as like knowing what you beat and what you don't. Well, actually, it's not even that hard to know what you beat and don't beat. Just avoid Charmers, Fighters, or anything that has a charged fighting move like Poliwrath and Registeel, and you're good to go. Alright, so if I had to give Umbreon a rating, definitely I would give it a 9 out of 10. I can't give it a 10 out of 10 for a reason, just because the Charmers and counter users really do oppress Umbreon. You're able to beat them if they have a decent amount of chip damage, so Umbreon can probably like whip out some damage. It's also able to beat BBML. Because it's able to beat BBML in many scenarios, I have to give it that rating, especially since it has such strong matchups against positive matchups. As long as you keep it away from Charmers and fighter users, it can, against its positive matchup, it pretty much wreaks havoc. So, again, it does take some skill to use. That's why I can't even give it like a 9.5. But it's very powerful. It's able to take out a lot of things, and really its only hard losses are against Charmers and fighters, like I said. So those are its only hard losses. As you see in the 2 shields, 73%, which is actually really good. Not as good as other picks, however, as you see here, what you lose against is basically Conkeldurr, Ampharos with Focus Blast. Like, again, anything that has a fighting, see, fighting counter. So anything that's fighting and anything that's a Charmer, you do lose against. Has strong matchups in the 1 shield, so if it does have a shield, it does have strong matchups in the 1 shield. As you see, 79%, so it gets better in the 1 shield. Very dominant, especially with shield advantage, as you see here. If you're able to give it shield advantage, 92%. So on the 1 to 0s, it beats 92% of the meta, only losing to, like I said, fighters and Charmers. So fighters and things with fighting moves and Charmers. Especially in the 2 to 0s. So, see, it's very good with shield advantage. Very, very powerful with shield advantage. And against its positive matchups, it gives you a lot of breathing room because of its bulk. Because of the bulk, very, very powerful. And it gives you a lot of plays. And like I said, with those dominant matchups, you're going to come out of a lot of matchups with shield advantage with energy. The only reason, like I said, I can't give it a 10 out of 10 because it gets walled by Charmers. Normally, I won't, unless there's special circumstances, I won't give something that gets walled by something or gets walled by, because Charmers and Fighters are a little common in Ultra League. A lot of reason Charmers are used is to beat Giratina Altered as well as Fighters as well, because Charmers do beat them. However, Umbreon is still able to do a lot of damage against a lot of other matchups. Charmers do not, so that's why it's so good. Umbreon is so very powerful, as you see, with shield advantage, automatically just jumps up. It's extremely insane, and because, like I said, if it's really positive matchups against even just neutral matchups and just like matchups it beats, I give it a 9 out of 10. Again, just avoid Charmers, Fighters, anything with a fighting type move, just avoid them, and then Umbreon goes to town. So, there it is. If you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. Again, Umbreon level 50 is a beast for Ultra League. Being able to take down the BBML, as well as, like I said, having with shield advantage, it's a beast. Has a lot of play in Ultra League. If you don't have your level 50 Eevee, if you're not grinding for it now and you have the opportunity to do so, I definitely recommend it, because Umbreon in Ultra League is going to be really, really interesting and really strong for Go Battle League. Hope you guys have good luck on your Go Battle League sets, and I will see you on the next video.